Imagine an innocent schoolgirl with a sweet smile on her face. And now, imagine that this same girl commits a heinous crime that shakes the entire country to its core. Afterward, as is often the case with crimes in Japan, involving cute girls with behaviors from anime and manga, she becomes widely known across the internet. People admire her, draw fan art, and organize fan clubs on forums. In short, it becomes a frenzy. This is the story of Natsumi Tsuji, better known as Nevada Tan. In this video, we will delve into the details of this case and explore how she went from being an ordinary, seemingly innocent schoolgirl to a monster. Hello everyone, welcome to the Paradox channel. Subscribe to the channel to watch intriguing stories related to crime and incidents. And now, let's begin the video. To understand the context, it's necessary to say the following. In 1997, the country was shocked by a horrifying incident. At that time, a 14-year-old schoolboy decided to end the life of an 11-year-old boy right on the school grounds, using an especially gruesome method. The spectacle was horrifying, and naturally the government began to contemplate what to do about all of this. The decision was made to lower the age at which teenagers could be sentenced to imprisonment from 16 to 14 years old. The next moment, the year 2001, Osaka Prefecture. A man named Takuma Mamoru stormed into the Ita Elementary School building with a knife, and I believe you can understand what happened next. 8 victims and 15 wounded. It all happened in a matter of minutes. Takuma was 37 at the time. According to various sources, he had suffered from mental disorders since childhood, had been in prison, and even attempted to take his own life. Then he is executed, but at the same time, the government once again reflects on the protection of school children. This leads to increased security measures in many educational institutions to counter such threats. A similar situation exists in our schools because of exceptionally gifted teenagers, turnstile gates, card access, and security guards at the entrance. Unfortunately, reducing the age for prison sentences by 2 years and neglecting safety measures in schools have ultimately led to serious consequences, specifically the incident that we will face today. And finally, Nevada Tan. For the most part, I'll just call her Nevada. Little is known about her personal life, mainly because she didn't share much information herself. Known for her almost silent demeanor, she rarely engaged with others. Even when talking to her parents, she usually responded with short words and grumbles. Her home life appeared relatively normal, relatively because she was an otaku, a term for avid anime and manga fans. While being an otaku is normal, especially in Japan, her case was more serious. She displayed an unhealthy interest in horror, particularly the most gruesome and bloody subgenres. One of her favorite works was the film Battle Royale, where a group of students is stranded on an island and fights using various weapons. She found this concept intriguing and derived immense pleasure from watching it. Most of her time was spent in her room, browsing the internet, wearing headphones, and listening to music. According to her mother, the internet changed Nevada, and not for the better. Eventually, she created her own page on the Kafesto platform, a sort of ancient Reddit and Facebook in Japan. Users could share information about themselves and create avatars. It was on this platform that she met her classmate named Satomi, and they became friends, eventually interacting in real life at school. Satomi Mitarai was 12 years old at that time, while Nevada was 11. She never had any problems at school. She enjoyed spending time with Nevada. They even joined the basketball club together and practiced after school. However, eventually Nevada had to leave the group to focus on her studies. Perhaps at the time, leaving the club didn't seem like a significant event, but most likely it served as a catalyst that triggered Nevada's problems. As further exploration of her story unfolds, it becomes apparent that her unhealthy fascination with violence, death, and cruelty, combined with her isolation and lack of any social interaction, ultimately led her to some rather peculiar behavior. Nevada Tan became accustomed to becoming more and more isolated from the world. The internet became almost her sole means of communication. As her classmates and teachers later recall, her grades were slightly above average, and she was a quiet and calm girl, essentially an ordinary and unremarkable schoolgirl. But all of this persisted until the 5th grade. That is, until the moment when her mental state began to unravel. Many noted that she suddenly became unable to look people in the eyes during conversations and would fly into a rage over trivial matters that irritated her. While these minor issues seemed inconsequential to those around her, she would insult her classmates and at times, reportedly menacingly brandish a utility knife. In the future, Nevada saw herself as a manga author or artist. She began practicing and, of course, started writing her own stories. One of her narratives closely resembled Battle Royale, where all students were forced to fight until the last survivor. What's intriguing is that all the characters had names and personalities suspiciously similar to her own classmate. It might sound horrific, but she even devised cruel and creative ways to eliminate everyone throughout the story. Next, the events leading up to the actual crime unfold. If you recall, Nevada had a friend named Satomi, with whom she practically stopped communicating after leaving the basketball club. Somehow they managed to reconnect, although their friendship was somewhat strained. One day, in a rare playful mood, Nevada jumped on Satomi's back at school just to have some fun. At that moment, Satomi jokingly told her she was heavy. Nevada was stunned and angrily replied, "Don't be rude." You see, despite being quite slender, Satomi made the comment in jest. Nevada took deep offense at this remark. Soon after, Nevada, to put it mildly, fell out of favor with her classmates, and over time her relationship with Satomi soured. Next, typical school drama unfolded. Satomi wrote something about Nevada on her Cave-Stow profile, and in retaliation Nevada logged into Satomi's account and deleted her avatar. Concurrently, she had conflicts with a few other kids, just typical childish quarrels. However, Satomi did something she shouldn't have done, especially considering Nevada's mental health issues that I mentioned earlier. She wrote about Nevada again, this time genuinely insulting her, once more calling her heavy, probably because it had triggered a negative reaction before. At this point, trying to save face, Nevada ordered her to take back her words and delete the comment. Naturally, Satomi refused, adding that Nevada was also a show-off. As Nevada grew increasingly irritated with the relentless comments, feeling insulted and powerless to stop it, she eventually reached a boiling point. Driven by a burning desire to settle things with Satomi once and for all, she reached the culmination of her frustration. She had been thinking about it for a long time, considering various options. As she later recounted, these ranged from using an ice pick to simple strangulation. And so, the first day of summer arrived, June 1st, 2004, marking the beginning of the end for one of the protagonists. It's worth noting that the Japanese school year starts in April, and summer vacation lasts from late July to the end of August, so students were still attending classes. A few hours into the school day, as students began preparing for lunch, Nevada approached Satomi and asked her to come with her for a moment. She led her to an empty classroom at the end of the corridor and closed the curtains. Then she seated Satomi on a chair and coldly said, "Today you will die." Then Nevada asked Satomi if she wanted her to cover her eyes with a handkerchief when it happened, but Satomi refused. Nevada then closed Satomi's eyes with her right hand, and with her left, pulled out the utility knife. In a swift motion, she cut her throat from behind. In a panic, Satomi jumped up from the chair and tried to resist, prompting Nevada to act by striking her hands, especially her right wrist. Suffering from significant blood loss, Satomi quickly fell to the floor. After a brief struggle, Nevada sat down next to Satomi on the floor and waited for Satomi to stop moving. Once she was convinced that Satomi was dead, Nevada made her way back to the classroom, completely covered in blood. She stood there with the bloodied knife and the handkerchief in her hand. The teacher, thinking she might have somehow injured herself, rushed over to inspect her but found no wounds. Naturally, the teacher started to panic, demanding answers. And finally, Nevada spoke, "It's not my blood," then pointed towards the room where she had just witnessed Satomi's last moments and said, "I did something bad." Nevada led the teacher to the body, crying all the way. As soon as the teacher saw Satomi in a pool of blood, she called for help. At that moment, Satomi was still breathing. Other teachers and students gathered at the scene, witnessing blood splatters on the walls and a broken blade of a utility knife, drenched in blood. An ambulance was immediately called, but it was too late. By the time they arrived, Satomi's heart had already stopped. She died from blood loss. Taking her to the hospital would have been futile. At some point, Satomi's father arrived and witnessed the horror scene himself. The cuts on her neck were up to 10 centimeters deep, and the slashes on her left wrist were so deep that the bone was visible. The scene was so horrifying that many students, school staff, and first responders ended up with post-traumatic stress disorder. The seemingly mild 11-year-old attacker was taken into custody. She decided to open up a bit during questioning. She voluntarily began confessing to the investigators, admitting that she had assaulted Satomi. In tearful confessions, she acknowledged to the investigators that she realized she had done something wrong, and this was an understatement. Her mother hurried to the police station, attempting to extract any information from Nevada and find out what had happened. However, Nevada mostly cried and remained silent. She spent the night at the police station, crying and refusing to eat. She repeatedly apologized to all the police officers who happened to come near her. For a while, she didn't want to explain the reason for her attack on Satomi, leaving the police puzzled and literally coaxing answers out of her. Initially, she simply stated that she had no motive, claiming she did it just because. It's quite possible that she started to realize how absurd this sounded and felt awkward or ashamed. We may never know for sure. But soon after, she admitted to the police that an online argument led to the murder. She told the police that Satomi, once a close friend, started writing comments about her on the internet that she didn't like. She said, "I asked her to stop, but she didn't. We argued, and I got tired of it all." Naturally, the public was shocked when news of the murder broke, mostly because of the young age of the two kids involved and the brutality of the attacks. Satomi's father spoke at a press conference, expressing disbelief at how such a tragedy could occur. He can't fathom how it happened and is struggling to come to terms with the loss of his daughter. And I'll remind you that not long before this, they lowered the age at which a teenager can be sentenced to prison to 14 years. Yet, at that time, Nevada was only 11, so in this case, that change didn't make a difference. In the end, she was placed in a correctional facility for 2 years, but her sentence was extended by another 2 years due to her inability to communicate with others. It was later revealed that she had Asperger's syndrome. For those interested, you can Google what that is. In 2008, when her sentence ended, authorities didn't insist on extending it. However, Nevada could decide whether to stay or leave. She ultimately left in 2013, at the age of 20. Now she's doing everything possible to reintegrate into society. It's worth noting that Nevada's popularity skyrocketed after the incident. T-shirts with the English word Nevada quickly sold out when a store near the University of Nevada realized the reason behind the sudden demand and promptly removed them from shelves. Nevada's fame transcended the internet, reaching the real world. She became a popular cosplay choice among Japanese women and beyond. Hundreds of artworks were created featuring her, ranging from harmless to extremely graphic. In conclusion, it must be said that Nevada Tan's story is undeniably tragic. However, it also sheds light on mental health issues and societal pressures. It shows how easily a person can be consumed by obsessive thoughts and the long-lasting consequences of cyberbullying.